We are celebrating Pride Month with Yuval David, who is an Emmy Award winner. He's a filmmaker, a director, an actor, activist, just an all-around amazing human being. And I just feel honored to have you in my presence and in the studio in Los Angeles.
I'm honored to be in your presence. I wish I was as beautiful as you are. I come out here to Los Angeles and I feel like some sort of troll with like wrinkles and spots and looking and feeling exhausted. And you exude beauty. And like, do you only sleep? I know you don't only sleep because you do a lot.
I appreciate that. But you're exhausted because you've been in LA just working for the past, what, 4 days?
Yeah, it's been anywhere from 1 to 2 speaking engagements a day, advocacy meetings, meeting with different elected officials, organizational leaders, influencers. And when I say influencers, it's not just the social media influencers. I want us all to take that word back. An influencer is somebody who has influence, whether they have 5,000 followers, 1 million followers. They lead a city council, they're on the city council, they create new organizations. We are all influencers, and we're in an era, especially the Jewish people and our allies, that not only do we have to see ourselves as people of influence, but we have to see and understand that we're soldiers in a war that was thrust upon us, not one that we chose.
Oh, wow. That's really well said, and you are so right on. I mean, I think about you so often because you're speaking up so loudly and so courageously, and I think in Hollywood and in what you do for a living, how hard that must be for you, Yuval. I mean, how have you been able, do you feel accepted in your full identity and who you are?
No. That's the short answer. I can give you the long answer, but no, I don't. So, we're in an era where we're supposed to, especially the LGBTQ movement. I don't even call it a community anymore because it's not the supportive community that I was taught it was going to be and that it was supposed to be and that we're supposed to fight for. It's a very successful socio-political movement, which is amazing. And the Jewish people have so much to learn from the successes and the failures of not just the LGBTQ movement, but the civil rights movement, the women's movement. We, the Jewish people, need a movement. Zionism was an incredible movement, and I feel like it's this slow car that's like trudging up a hill. We need to empower people to learn from these other civil rights, social justice, and human rights movements and represent ourselves boldly, beautifully, and with pride. So do I feel supported in each part of my the communities of my intersectional identity? No, I was just jumped and attacked at an LGBTQ pride march. My group of Jewish people were attacked, and as we were attacked, what made it worse, as we're physically assaulted, what made it worse is the fact that people were cheering.
I mean, I just don't understand. Who attacked you?
We were attacked by people wearing keffiyehs and pride colors, chanting, "Jews ruined pride, Jews ruined pride, and no pride in genocide, no pride in genocide. Zionists get out, Zionists go home." I mean, these are stories that my grandparents spoke about living in Europe and in Poland before, the Nazis took over. Because the Nazis were able to take over, and today's Nazis are able to take over because they're feeding off of the useful idiots who have these malleable minds who respond to emotions only and not facts. So you give them something that rhymes and they think it must be true. It's these simpletons who you give a nursery rhyme to, from the river to the sea. They don't even know what it means. Now, when you look at it in the actual Arabic, from the river to the sea is not about land. It's about Islamization. It's about destroying anybody who's an infidel, who doesn't live and practice the way they do. That includes Jews. That includes Christians, Baha'i, Druze. It includes other Muslims. So these people are ridiculous.
I mean, they are absolutely ridiculous. But Yuval, you have been such an activist for the LGBTQ plus community for forever, right? You walked in, you grabbed me rather than shaking my hand, and you did this. And I said to you, "What is that? Did you serve?" And you said, "No, it's a climber's grip." And can you please tell everybody for a moment what you've been doing for the LGBTQ community?
So you asked me if I served, and I assume you meant the IDF or maybe the military here. I didn't serve in the military in the US or in Israel, but because I didn't serve the way so many amazing people do, I made sure that I will serve my countries, because I'm both Israeli and American, in every which way I can, based on the values that I believe in. I believe in basic values: women's rights, LGBTQ rights, freedom of religion, equal access to education, health care for all, being able to protest against your government, being able to run for office, and not to be killed or imprisoned for that. Pretty basic things. And it's also very much entrenched in Jewish values. If you're a leader, I don't have to agree with everything you say. If you're my teacher, I'm actually supposed to question you before I automatically agree with you. Those are democratic values. Those are values of movements. That's why Jewish people have been involved in so many socio-political movements. So the climber's grip, it's also a warrior's grip. When you help somebody up, you hold them like this. Holding somebody's hand is cute and sweet and romantic, and oh, it's so cute. But you can't really help somebody by holding their hand.
That's right. So what were you doing to help people? What were you doing with your time?
In my adult life, I have always been on the speaking circuit, advocacy circuit, empowering Jewish people, LGBTQ people, marginalized groups to explore their full selves, to be able to be proud to be who they are. And that started to lead me to doing other things. For example, being involved in helping rescue LGBTQ people and women out of dangerous and life-threatening situations internationally because I don't work for an organization and I don't work for a government. I don't have to be limited by the bureaucratic red tape that they are. So I can say, oh, this organization does that, this organization does that, that person has those connections, and that one, she's boots on the ground. I can bring them all together in order to get certain things done. Most of those situations have been in countries that practice Sharia law, where somebody like me would get thrown off of a roof. Oh, by the way, punishment for gay men in most countries that practice Sharia law: first they get raped, then they get killed, because you're not considered gay if you're the masculine, the one who's penetrating. You know, it's the same thing. Rape is a form of punishment. The same thing they do to women if they're accused of being lesbian, or if they don't want to marry a certain man, or if they resist against their communities, they will get raped. When my grandfather wrote in his diary in 1923 in Kfar Saba in Israel, he wrote about Muslim armies coming in and decimating Jewish communities. They would go house to house. They would kill the men. They would cut off their genitals and put it in their mouths, in the mouths of the men they killed. They would rape their women and their daughters the same way that they would rape their land. So they would destroy their farmland. Well, you know what? October 7th was the same thing that my grandfather saw in 1923. We're dealing with a very twisted, mean, hateful, and evil mentality. I support the values just as I spit them out earlier. I do not support any people, any organization, any governing body, any terrorist group that does not support women's rights, LGBTQ rights, democracy, equal access to education, freedom of religion. I mean, basic things.
I mean, it's mind-blowing to me, Yuval. You've dedicated your entire life to this. What about all of your friends within these different communities now?
Former friends, let's call, sadly, former friends. I feel, and I'm kind of making up this number, but it feels like I've lost 75% of my friends in the United States who proved that they weren't the true friends, who spoke out against Israel, against Zionism when they don't even really know what Zionism is, and against the values that should be including all people, including Jews. The whole "Me Too, unless you're a Jew" hashtag. Oh my gosh, how telling is that? So I'm entering my angry phase. I'm angry. And I'm sad about that, because people always would see me, especially, you know, the public-facing version of myself that I would share, as this optimistic, playful, fun, bright person, you know, like a pixie, a fairy, you know, whatever, yes. You know, whatever that kind of energy is, a playful puppy dog. Those were things that people would say about me. I feel the darkness, the depression, the anxiety, the sadness, and the disappointment in so many of the movements and organizations that I'm involved in and have been involved in my entire life. And that also includes Hollywood, because I work as an actor, filmmaker, and journalist. I'm just seeing people do things that are nothing short of wrong and the antithesis to what they claim to fight for.
That's what I don't understand, Yuval. It is the antithesis to what they fight for. How is it that any gay person can be pro-Hamas when they know that they would be killed? I mean, what's going on? I don't understand.
I don't understand it either. It's mind twisting. Where it actually, I do understand where it came from. Sorry, I didn't turn my phone off. It came from Islamist groups infiltrating the civil rights and social justice movements since the 1960s, where they started to feed different lies and they started to manipulate people, and it took a long time. They've been much more successful than we are in these covert operations to manipulate generations of people. Jewish people would donate money and build a building so schools and people can thrive, and they put their name on the building. But you know what the people against us did? They filled the building with professors, with people who are giving scholarships, with people who are now part of other groups and saying, well, oh, you need to believe this. If you're black, you must be against Jews because Jews are white supremacists. You know what? Jews are not white. I'm white presenting, probably because ancestors of mine were raped by those who wanted to attack us in pogroms and Cossacks, right?
Right?
We've never been considered white by white movements and white supremacist movements. 67% of Jews internationally are actually considered people of color. You know that. You're one of them.
Yes.
Right?
Correct. But then my daughter, who has very curly black hair and is Iranian, walks onto campus and they call her a white colonizer. And you're saying this has all been happening since the 60s. They've been brainwashed. And so now when you try and have a conversation with someone who you've worked for decades within the gay community, they don't want to hear it? They don't want to know about your Zionism and what it means?
The smart, grounded people do. The people who truly believe that we all have a seat at the table do. And those are amazing people, and those are people I want to help. And I don't say this is what you should think. And if they say, well, which side should I? I'm like, this is not there's no both sidesism here. There's so many sides to this complex situation. And if you truly understand the complexity of life, then let's focus on the values you believe in and then craft your messages. So when I meet with them, I don't say, you must support Israel, you must be Zionist, you must support the Jewish people. I said, well, do you believe in rights for all people? Do you believe that rape is not a form of resistance? Do you believe that October 7th? And I go through this whole thing, and I also ask them questions and getting them to a place that reveals that they probably don't know as much as they should or want to, and they are responding with emotions. And if they're true leaders, they need to get their shit together and they need to know what they're talking about, because the followers are responding with emotions. It's part of humanity.
That's right.
You know that expression, I might not remember what you said, but I'll remember how you made me feel.
Absolutely.
All of these people are like, oh, I need to be angry. I'm going to be angry. It's performative activism.
Yes. Exactly.
It's like the people who put up a sign in their front lawn. I saw a bunch of them here that have all the different things. Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter, refugees matter, all of these different things. I was like, putting up a sign in your lawn is not enough. Yeah. And that's what most people do. And sadly, a lot of these people are going to the protests and posting on social media. That's all they're doing. Do the work. Meet with your elected officials. Run for office. Join an organization. Support an organization. Help your community members. And if these people, and I'm talking a lot, I'm sorry, because I'm truly in this angry phase, and I feel like I'm just spewing anger.
You're here because we want to hear from you.
Well, I want to be here with you, and you're amazing, and I feel like this is it. Thank you for this therapy session. I'll Venmo you whatever. I don't know what this therapy bill is. Gosh, and I'm on a couch too. I should be reclining. Honestly, I'm just really angry, and it's going to get worse, because I had a speaking engagement in the Pico Robertson area yesterday, and there were attacks. Jews were being attacked. People were spewing not just anger and hatred, but actually resorting to physical violence. And you know what we're seeing? Jews are standing up. They're saying, don't F with me. Jews are getting stronger, because you know what? We cannot be the weak Jews. And as an Iranian, you get it. Yes. Because Iranian Jews have been, all the Iranian Jews that I know, they might say all their gazo khel and merci and all this kindness stuff, but they're tough because they saw what we're seeing now.
Yes, we don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice. This is not some performative, fun social justice movement for us like these students on college campuses. This is about our existence.
No. So what do you tell your daughter, an Iranian Jew? What do you tell her about understanding not just who she comes from, but what your family's history was to make her a strong, bold Jewish woman? What do you tell her?
Well, they are. All 4 of my girls are strong, and they know who they are because they've heard these stories since the day they were born. We sit around the Shabbat table every Friday night with their grandparents and their uncles and their aunts, and they hear the stories. And they know. They are proud of who they are. Just like you said, it's a value system, right? Yeah. We need to be strong in our values because we're here to spread light. So we cannot be bullied. We're not going to let anyone bully us out of wearing our Jewish pride and putting our mezuzah outdoors.
There were 20-something different people who didn't come to my speaking engagement last night, yesterday evening, because they heard about the protest and they were afraid. I keep encountering people who are afraid to wear the Magen David. I mean, I wear so many necklaces. I don't even wear one. I was like, if I'm going to wear one Magen David, I might as well wear as many as possible. We need to make sure that we are proud to be who we are and learn from the civil rights movement in the United States, where eventually African Americans had to say black is beautiful.
Yes.
What was that about? That was about, responding to the people subjugating and demoralizing black people and saying that they're less than, and they're not this, and they're not this, or they're that. And they said, no, we are beautiful. Jews need to do that.
Yes.
Jews are beautiful. We are fabulous. We are sexy. We are brilliant. We are resilient. We don't only live as victims. We live as survivors. October 7th woke up our epigenetics. October 8th woke it up even more when we saw all of this hatred, including our friends. When we said, oh, that's what those stories were like. When Iranian Jews said, we thought our neighbors were our friends, but then they turned us in. When German Jews said the same things. When Russian Jews said the same things. When we saw this, when Ethiopian Jews said the same things. What is this cyclical narrative that we have? We need to be strong effing Jews.
Yes, I love it, Yuval. I love what you said. And you just said it's only getting worse, and it's going to get worse. And as we see colleges fueling up again in August and kids going to high school campuses and school starts, what is your message? I want you to look into that camera. What is your message to the parents and the students who are going to enter this? How do they prepare this summer? How do they get ready to enter these spaces again?
My message for students, no matter if you're in K through 12, in college as an undergrad or a grad student, my message for you and your parents and your families, 1, get a Jewish studies minor. Study about our people from our people. Study about who we are from the people who love us and want to amplify us and ensure that we continue as a people and chant Am Yisrael Chai. Be educated, be informed about who you are, where you come from, so you can have that debate, that you don't only have to respond like those who hate us with emotions, masking a lack of knowledge. We need to be knowledgeable. The Jewish people have been known to be a knowledgeable people, a people of the book. They all say this. That is number 1. Number 2, do not stand up and do not cower when you encounter hatred. This fall semester is going to be worse than what we just saw in the spring semester. You know what? Life sucks. Life really sucks. It's really hard. It's challenging, but it's also great. You are not the leaders of tomorrow. You're not. You're the leaders of today.
Oh, Yuval, honestly, you can make me cry.
I cried on my way here. I received some really horrible news about somebody I know who survived the October 7th massacre and is having major mental health issues, and that's something that the PTSD is all coming back. And it's not even PTSD. It's not post-trauma. It's current trauma.
And there's no time to really sit and process it because we're constantly fighting it.
But that's just what it is. And that's the message is, you know what? This is life. Our people have seen it before. Humanity has seen it before. It's up to us to be the heroes, to be the soldiers, to be the educators, to be the prophets, to be the philosophers. We need to be informed and prepared.
Yes, I love it. Yuval, you are just incredible. You are such a great role model. You are strong. We are watching you. For anyone who doesn't follow Yuval, make sure you follow Yuval David on Instagram. Look at the great work he's doing. I am honored to know you. Thank you for standing
Honored to
strong
know
for
you.
who you are. You're an incredible human being.
You're saying everything that I say about you. You're amazing. You share such incredible messages. You amplify other people. You are the type of person that ensures that the Zionist movement won't just be this trudging car. You're filling the tank with gas. We need to support each other.
Because we know how good it is. We are proud of who we are. We want to just spread it. We want to make the world better because we know.
Amen.
We know that Zionism and Judaism is a way of life. It's a good, pure way to live. So we have to just continue to do what we're doing.
I want to give you the climbers group, but I really want a hug. I need a hug.
You.
All right.
I'm going to hug you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please tune in next time. Make sure you follow Yuval David on Instagram, and we'll see you all next time right here on Moms Matter.
And now we...